I think it's important that we start by understanding the challenges of where we are today. Nine Dot Arts has over a decade of experience working with large scale developers, municipalities, and cities on embedding arts and culture into new places that will impact generations. And the challenges are different sometimes for each particular project or each particular time period. Right now, in this post pandemic landscape, we've got a few things that we're evaluating. One is, how do we execute a vision long term over several years without getting off course? How do you manage a changing budget? How do we address gentrification concerns by authentic connections to communities? And most importantly, how are we focusing on differentiation from the competition? So in commercial real estate, there was this era for, the past 5, 10 years that was really considered more of a merchant building era where people were flipping buildings and making big profits. But what's happening now with rising interest rates and cap rate expansion, we're actually going to be seeing more long-term holds. And when you're creating long-term holds in real estate, you want to create better, higher quality assets that will endure over time. So that differentiation from competition, I think, is going to be a really key point now and into the future. So, what's involved? Our team develops extensive community art plans for large scale developments. Traditionally, these were called art master plans, but we work on these for private developers, municipalities, cities, and communities that are large and small. The plans can vary by project, but they include anything from an art and culture vision, an art typology and location plans, as well as financing strategies to support arts infrastructure. So here's a little bit more about what's involved in that process. First, we think about strategic partnerships. Community art plans involve strategic partnerships among diverse groups. So you want to think beyond your typical project team of developers, designers, and city planners to also include artists, cultural leaders, art consultants. You want to look at a diversity of placemaking professionals to lead to creative solutions that differentiate a development in an authentic and enduring way. And you want to offer new perspectives, connect to locals, and provide overall accountability while also ensuring that the placemaking process just doesn't happen in a silo. So sometimes, community leaders can guide these construction efforts away from something like a sacred space, while artists might help to honor that space through a thoughtful installation that reflects shared values and ultimately leads to greater community buy-in and support for these changes long term. And doing research is a huge component of this. So our team performs in-depth research related to every site. And that could be anything from a site visit to a study of the history of the area, situational analysis of industry trends and demographic landscapes, policy analysis of past arts and cultural plans, reviewing any benchmark studies to give us a sense of best practices, synthesis of surveys, focus groups, interviews. We go out and interview the community to really understand their needs, their wants, and the assets that are there. And vision development workshops are huge amongst the project stakeholders and community leaders to create that shared alignment. And cultural asset mapping is an important part of this as well, because that's taking an audit of the people, the organizations, the networks, and the institutions that we can build upon. We then translate this comprehensive research into a site-specific recommendation for embedding art and culture into the fabric of a development. So some examples of this would include key arts and cultural leaders and change makers who could influence a project. So translating arts and culture inventories into a network of influential stakeholders, mission, vision, and guiding principles for programming, a roadmap for future art curation and installation, art typologies, criteria, and locations, art financing and implementation strategies for how to best fund or manage and sustain long-term art and cultural plans. And we study national models for public art financing that are rooted in sustainability and prioritizing local labor. So we'll use these examples to inform a foundational understanding of public art financing and combine that with some contextualized research for that particular project site. So, for example, some traditional commercial real estate improvement strategies that we've applied include things like transfer fees or a percentage of construction fee or funds developed from a bid, a business improvement district, or a JID, a general improvement district, or even a special tax district that takes a percentage of ad revenue to fund arts and cultural installations over time. And then, of course, we manage the whole process of doing an artist request for proposals, a request for qualifications in the development so that we can make sure there's a competitive process and anyone in the community is able to participate.